Hi guys, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm showing you some recipes that really save me in a pinch. That is because they are all recipes I can make when I forgot to thaw meat. So I'm gonna share them with you today. I have a list of 10. I'm gonna share 5 of them with you today. You can let me know if you want to see some more. We are a family of 13, 12 currently living in our house. Actually, 13 currently living in our house. One's home for a while. And we sometimes forget to thaw meat for dinner, and we mostly eat meat for dinner. Sometimes we'll just make some eggs when we've forgotten. Or a lot of times for us, we go to church on Sunday mornings and we come home, and if we don't have something ready that we didn't prep ahead on Saturdays, it makes it really difficult. We're a pastor's family, so getting out to church on time is already an issue when you got so many kids. My youngest is 2. We often don't have time to make dinner before we leave the house, but we want a big dinner. We're all starving by the time we get home, and we want a good dinner. So these are the kind of meals I keep on hand so that I know we can eat something really nutritious, really fast, and it saves us a ton of money. This is embarrassing stories, number 1. The other day it was after church on a Sunday. We were all very, very hungry. So we just pulled over to a gas station. My husband and I were fine with eating when we got home. But the kids all picked up, it was a gas station that had a little restaurant in it. They each picked up a mini pizza or a cheeseburger, just that. Just to tide them over. We had a long drive home. And $48 later, we're like, oh man, we really should have just cooked at home. It would have been much better food and saved us a lot of money. So this list, I like to keep it on my phone so that I remember when I'm driving what we could be doing quickly when we get home if we've been out. And I also like to keep it on my fridge because when you're really hungry, sometimes you forget what you have available to you and what you can make in a hurry. There's something about hunger, it messes with your brain and you think, there's nothing I can make right now. We have nothing. It's like looking in your closet and saying you have nothing to wear. Same kind of thing. So I keep a list on my fridge, fast meals that we can make when we forgot to thaw meat or we have very little time. The first meal I'm gonna show you is fish tacos. Fish tacos actually are very, very fast to make because the fish that I buy just comes packaged very small. So I just pulled these straight out of the freezer. We no longer buy tilapia. We've now been buying cod from Azure Standards. It's just a lot better quality fish. But this month we happen to be eating out of our freezers all the things that we had stocked ahead of time, and I have a few bags of these that need to be eaten, and we're not throwing them away. We're definitely eating them. So I consider fish a very easy meal to cook when it's not thawed ahead of time because it will thaw so fast. I'm just gonna get a big bowl, fill it with cold water, and put all of these in it. While I give those a few minutes in the bowl, I'm just gonna prep some other ingredients that can easily go with them. It is the dead of winter here. So I don't have a lot of the things I have in the summer available to me, like fresh tomatoes to make a little salsa or whatever. But I do have some lettuce. I have some good quality cheese always on hand. I always keep some salsa in my pantry, so I have that. We're gonna make it work. All right, it's not even been 15 minutes, just over 10 actually. I was able to shred some cheese. I looked for avocados, fresh tomatoes, cilantro. Those would have been my preference. Didn't have them, but I'm making do with what I got. Got red onions, some limes, lettuce, and some salsa will take the place of tomatoes. Good enough. We're not looking to make a fine dining experience here. We're just looking to feed our family with something that tastes good and is healthy for them. Pulled out my taco seasoning, which is a seasoning I make up myself of my own seasonings. And then some tortillas, we've got more too. I think this is ready to get out of the package, and I've got my cast iron warming up here. I'm just gonna add some butter. It's been exactly 20 minutes since I started. I already have meat for several tacos done. I have more fish frying behind me. That was really easy. I didn't put cheese on these. I like them without cheese myself. I'm ashamed of the other day that we stopped to eat out when dinner is literally 20 minutes away. You cannot go out and get food in 20 minutes with our large family. One thing I love about frying meat for fish tacos, is you can break the pieces up to really make sure that they're cooked inside, but you don't get them overcooked. And especially when from frozen, it makes it very convenient. And I was totally kidding about the eating out. No shame in that game. I love eating out. But if your goals for your wallet or your health are different, it's so good to have some backup plans. Some of my kids will want this with cheese and sour cream. Not me. 30 minutes later, and I have dinner for 14 people because we have an extra one tonight. That is really fast. only because I pulled out a second frying pan. But if you weren't making it for so many people, it can be 20 minutes. So that is awesome to win. And I just have to show you this because it makes me laugh. 20 minutes later, they're all gone. And because not everyone is a fish fan, let's move on to supper number 2. This one is not half an hour or 20-minute dinner. However, for us in our Sunday morning scenario, I can throw it in the pressure cooker. Yes, you need a pressure cooker for this one. I use a pressure cooker for a lot of things. Pin that thought. I'll come right back to it. This one is really very fast considering that you're taking meat from frozen to dinner time. So even if I forget supper at 5 o'clock p.m., I can still make this one because a lot of times we eat at 6:30. That's not a big deal for us at all. So an hour and a half is what you kind of want to plan for this one. I double it. I have 2 pressure cookers, so I'm doing this twice for my family of 13, but for most people I think 1 is good, and when we do 2 of them, we will have leftovers. So here's what I'm doing. I'm taking a very frozen whole chicken from my freezer, right out of my freezer. This is one of our homegrown whole chickens. And I'm just gonna run it under hot water in the sink. It is hard as a rock, just pulled out. Run it under the sink in hot water just to release the chicken from its wrapping. Then I'm going to stick it right in my pressure cooker. Now I'm gonna add some water to it. So remember, I get out 2 pressure cookers and I do 1 single chicken in each one. I haven't had success with putting 2 in 1. So I put anywhere from 1 to 4 cups of water in there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I always use 4 cups of water because I want the extra broth. But if you don't care about the extra broth, you can just do it with 1 cup of water. I want the chicken broth because we're always needing chicken broth here. It's really good from a frozen uncooked chicken. We will either freeze it, which we hardly ever do anymore, use it right away, or we will can it up. So I'm pouring that right on my chicken. And then I'm gonna put on some spices, seasonings rather. I'll be very generous with salt. Wow, you hear the screaming. It's lots of fun having funness happening downstairs. A lot of pepper, oregano, garlic powder, and paprika. We're just gonna close that sucker up, put it on high pressure for 1 hour. Now here's the deal. You do it for 1 hour, but when you're cooking it from frozen, you really need to let it release for a while. So you don't want to do a quick release. You want to do a natural release or whatever they call that. I actually just leave it for a long time usually. But if I was wanting dinner within an hour and a half, you could just do 15 minutes to a half an hour of extra time after it cooks for that 1 hour. So like I said, not a 30-minute meal, but still very fast if you're remembering too late. While it's cooking up, of course, if you are remembering at 5 o'clock, you can just put together some sides. We love the pressure cooker for rice. We use it as our rice cooker. I love doing brown rice in there in particular, but my husband also loves to cook white rice in it. We use it for potatoes, so I cut them up usually just in half. Then we mash the potatoes, or we just eat them that way after they're cooked, like steamed more. Sometimes I just poke them and do baked potatoes in there. We use them for all kinds of things, potatoes. We use it for hard-boiled eggs, which is really easy. Just set it for 3 minutes with a couple cups of water at the bottom. Potatoes is also just a couple cups of water in the bottom. And of course, yogurt. How could I forget that? So we use at least 1 pressure cooker just about every single day in this house. They get a lot of use. I think it's totally worth the investment if you're thinking about it, and you would use it for those things too. Hey guys, I'm interrupting this video just to tell you 2 things quick. I forgot to tell you about my grocery haul update this month. So far, I had spent $513 last time I checked in with you. Our grocery budget is normally $2,000 a month, but we're trying to keep it very, very minimal this month. That $513 was raw milk, most of it, and a little bit was 1 dinner for New Year's Day. So the thing I spent this week was I bought 144 eggs. Our chickens just started laying in the fall, and we were not able to preserve enough eggs to get us through the bleaker months of winter. We still get some eggs from our girls, but not enough to keep up. So we just stocked up on eggs, and it was $40 for those, 8 packs of 18. So our total now is $553. Not too bad. We're 2 weeks in solidly. The other thing I want to tell you quick is that this week on my email list, I sent out an email about how to help your kids stay in bed. If you're struggling with your kids going to bed and staying in bed, there's a couple of tips in there that might help you. So if you missed that and you want to sign up, I'll put a link for it in the description box below. Another meat, another meal. This one I'm not going to be able to show you the finished product because it does take a while to prepare, but it is so very worth it. Maybe I'll get to show you some clips. of it after it's done, but it's not happening all tonight. This one is home canned beef stew. I have made it before, all in one jar, where I put beef, potatoes, and carrots in a jar and pressure can them. I love my Presto electric pressure canner. I have other canners like the stove kind, but this one just makes it so easy as a very busy mom to walk away and just let it do its job. But I noticed we always needed at least 3 jars of home canned jars when we were making the soup, even if we're adding other stuff into it in the pot. So I'm going to do it a little different this time. I have large family size ingredients here. This is a huge bag of organic carrots from Azure Standard that I get. These are some roasts I pulled out of the freezer yesterday that are thawed and ready to be canned up from the new big beef we bought in our freezer. And these are some organic potatoes that we got from Azure Standard as well. So I'm going to can them in separate jars instead of all in one jar, because it's so rare for us to just use one jar. In fact, we never have used one jar so far. We're always making it for a big group. It is so extremely helpful to have home canned meals on your shelf, especially these ingredients you're not ever getting in a can of soup that you get from the store. Even if it wasn't all organic, local, it's still better because you don't have any preservatives. So great idea. This is not something I do very fast. I have only been pressure canning for a couple years and I don't do a ton of it. I have done enough that I'm very comfortable with it and I can just do it in the small margins of time that I do have. So I'll do it over the rest of this week and just have them sitting on my shelves. I think it's really good to separate the ingredients because then I can just make whatever I come up with that I want to make. All right, well, I was working on canning, which takes a while. It's not the fast part. The fast part is when you've already canned and prepped it and you're just opening the jars. My chicken finished. It really was about 2 hours total because it took half an hour to build up pressure, an hour and a half, or an hour to cook, and then it's taking about half an hour to do the slow release. Totally falling off the bone. I don't know if you can see that there. Well seasoned and some great broth. Got a child putting away dishes right above me.
Not that I want to, but
it looks good though. I still think it works really well if you like got home from work at 4 or 4:30 and you don't mind eating a little later, had nothing thawed, or want to start something in the morning to have a really good lunch. We love to eat this like rotisserie chicken style, like I said, with salads or something, but you could also just shred up that chicken and use it in another quick meal or use it for another night. So on to meal number 4. I don't have a small pot to make a small batch, but I am making a smallish batch in a big pot. She smells that meat. You hear my canner going, but I'm gonna talk over it anyway. I am just making this one, it's chili. I'm gonna make it all from items on my shelf, my pantry shelf. First off, I grabbed some meat that I had canned previously. I canned it last year. This is ground beef. I don't can ground beef anymore because we don't love it, but I'm using it because I still have it. I love the stewed beef like I was cutting up over there. And I would also use stewed beef. I have pork that I canned, pork roasts that I canned up. I can up my own beans, so I'm gonna use some black beans. My canner is really gonna compete with me now, but it'll stop in a second. Nice thing about the beef is it comes, and all the meat I can has its own broth in it. I can it in its own juices, so I don't add water, but it makes a really good rich broth. I need more broth. And I don't actually have cans of it right now. We've been going through it a lot, but I'm gonna grab some of my chicken broth over here. That's really good chili. Actually, I take it back what I said about canned ground beef. It is good in chili. I was very generous with those 4 spices, salt and pepper.
I think you need more salt.
And I didn't even add the chicken broth. You think it needs more salt? Oh, it was good. I always go for more salt. This with some shredded cheese and sour cream. You got a quick dinner. Oh, 10 minutes. Of course it could simmer a little more, but 10 minutes. It is piping hot. 10 minutes? Why do we ever get cheap restaurant food that doesn't taste good and costs a lot? 10 minutes!
It took you 10 minutes to make the chili?
10 minutes. I mean, not 1 minute more. This is the annoying sound, but it's about to stop. 2 minutes left. Okay guys, I have one more to make. I'm inspiring myself. We are going to make pork chops from frozen. I pulled these out of the freezer just now. I have a lovely assistant, Vanna White. Solo Monia. And the pork chops are can you attest they are frozen solid, right?
Mm-hmm. They are solid.
They're frozen solid. So we're gonna put them in the package in cold water for 1 minute. The cast iron that I was using for the fish earlier, I cleaned it up. I had to scrape some stuff off, so I was just re-seasoning it here a little. But it's perfect, it's all ready, it's warm. I have it on medium heat. We're gonna make sure that's at 325. Okay, for this one, we're going to use salt and pepper, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, Italian seasoning, and I'm gonna use some tallow because that's what I've got. Well, we may have to thaw ours just a little more because we need to break them apart. And there's 4 of them there. But that's okay, our oven's still preheating, we have time. Maybe we can get them to break apart in the frying pan. Our pork that we get from the farmers always comes packaged a little differently, and so these are still stuck together because they were packaged like that. So ours is going to cook a little longer, but generally we can bake it in the oven. I would put it, because there's a lot of us, I would lay them out on a tray, and then we could bake them for 15 to 20 minutes. We just want the internal temperature to get 140 to 145, somewhere in there, and then they're perfect. 15 to 20 minutes is all it takes. So really, if you count a couple minutes in the cold water, searing it, it's like less than half an hour. And while it's baking, you can prepare a few sides. We just throw frozen vegetables in a pan and cook them up, and it doesn't take long at all. And that is a really fast meal. So let's show you. We'll get it in the oven, but ours is probably going to take more like half an hour or more. We will put some olive oil in the pan and balsamic vinegar and some Italian seasoning. Gonna stick that right in. We'll check it at 20 minutes with our thermometer. Okay, here they are, guys. It's a quick meal. Those are big pork chops, and we did end up separating them and then seared them a little once we were able to, after they were in the oven just a little bit, but it still only took half an hour. So I think if you have like normal size pork chops, you really can get away. I got it a little too cooked. It was more like 160, a little overcooked. It's way better if it's closer to 145 or 140 to 145, but still a really fast way to go from freezer to dinner. I just tried the obligatory bite. It's excellent. It's always a great feeling when you end up just coming home, or you end up just cooking something nutritious and everybody's happy. And you met your goals. So hopefully this helps you meet some of your goals. If you guys liked this video and you'd like to see more, I have at least 5 more, and I always learn a lot from my comments. I'm sure this will be no exception. So I love it if you share your own, and let me know if you want me to share my other 5. I'll pull another all-nighter. Just kidding. What time is it? Oh, it's only 10.
It feels late.
But my kitchen's very clean, and I got a lot of other stuff done at the same time. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.